the most important, the best things in life, money cannot buy. You know, and that's...
And they can't say it enough, can they?
Yes. Motivation, intelligence, family, friends, you know, those things. You can have all the money if you're not motivated, if you not have friends or things to share with, regardless, you are a very unhappy guy.
The Move Entrepreneur Evolved Podcast. Get on it!
Well, here we are. We have Rickson Gracie, Jason Starbuck here with Starbuck on the Move, and it's an honor not only to have been a young kid in martial arts, and I don't know if you remember the name Junri, if that name from Korea rings a bell, but he had brought Kung Fu over at a very young age, and I trained, and fundamentals were so important. And kids have been something that was so important to me to watch grow and things. And what I've learned through a lot of things that I've done in my life is fundamentals. And in Jiu-jitsu, what would you say would be the big fundamental that you would pass on?
Is through the understanding of your power, through leverage, through technical possibilities, give you more sense of, ground you in a way you don't feel like insecure. So the Jiu-Jitsu give you the secure state of mind of possibilities.
Okay.
So not because you're strong, not because you're tough, but because you know the angles and the leverage. So you're able to speak to yourself. You're able to, get into speak your mind because you're not afraid. And that's change your mindset in order for you to conquer life.
Many times, even now, we get nervous and things. Like even now, the first part of this interview, I'm always really real, because it's like, here we go, you get a legend of the sport. But I think anything in life that I've learned, I take many challenges, learning music or learning how to meditate for an hour and a half. We see a lot of people in life, they give up, at that point where they feel that they want to quit. What is it that you think that you've seen in Jiu-Jitsu of those that don't and those that do? When is it during the small period, or do you think they go further? Because not everybody gets that black belt, you know what I mean?
Yes, I think the big spectrum of information and knowledge and senses you can get from martial arts goes into your own understanding, goes at your own need. Mm-hmm. So some people, they are curious because they are insecure. Yeah. They're curious, and to the point they become satisfied, they stop. Sometimes they say, fuck, it's too hard for me, they stop. Sometimes they feel like was not exactly what they think, they stop. But we cannot expect people get the same information, regardless if it's music, if it's martial arts, if it's athleticism, sports, and get the same results from it or the same push or motivation.
Yeah.
So, but is in one point is important. Every kid supposed to know how to swim. It's basic. Mm-hmm. It's something who's gonna make him feel like, okay, I'm in the boat, but if I go in the water, I'm not gonna die. I feel like everyone has to know how to defend himself. It's basic. Even preachers on India, which create Jiu-Jitsu, they peaceful people. Yeah, but they have to survive against barbarians on the desert. So they first ones to learn how to defend themselves, to spread the word of God or whatever. But so, at one point, they don't want to be champions, they don't want to be physically tough or beat people, but they want to survive. So the minimum for them was the maximum.
That's a great statement.
So, it's somehow is important for us, like you said, give people's fundamentals of very elementary things which keep us in the highest level. Religion, sports, nutrition. You have to know the basics of nutrition. You cannot just eat Haagen-Dazs ice cream and think you're doing something good for yourself.
But they're good.
They taste good. You know? And if you don't know, if you don't get the information,
Sure.
you think what tastes good is what make you healthy.
You're absolutely right.
And then you're in deep problem. So that's why I feel like some educational format for kids from the point of nutrition, martial arts, just to learn how to fall instead, know how to make a roll and he's gonna absorb the impact better. Don't hurt yourself when you fall on the bike. That's coming from martial arts, not. So it's all integrated, you know. I feel like religion somehow is positive for you because you get reference from behavior, you know. Nutrition, martial arts. So those elements has to stick with you until you feel like, okay, I'm satisfied. I have enough for my goals. But I still know how to defend myself, but I don't want to be a champion. So from that point on, I'm going to be a doctor or whatever and go their lives happy, you know.
What has changed? I mean, I know that just being a martial artist as a young man, for me, I was much thinner, you know, in karate, and I was actually talking to Kron about this, is that, you know, that a kick that we learned in karate was not the kick that would work, that a Muay Thai kick would maybe work with. So my thought patterns of martial arts changed as the years. And as I do, and as we all know, we get older, how much has that changed for you? Martial arts has changed because there's still that excitement that you get. I mean, you can see the passion. And as you get older, I think you just, it changes, but there's something in it that still you spark from, you know?
Completely. But now, it's only physically 5%. You know, my passion is still to keep enlightening people with, you know, the benefits. Giving motivation to people to learn, that's something which keep me on the game. You know, keeping me, you know, responsible to be a reference for many in the sport who wants to know what I have to say and things like that. So that's keep me motivated, you know. To keep alive, just to see Kron compete his next event and be at his corner, that's keep me motivated because our tradition keep following. I mean, just keeping going. So I'm very pleased and happy to be alive and motivated to accomplish new projects, but my physicality in the sport is being diminishing gradually, you know, especially from the last 10 years. I spending less time on the mat, I sweating much less gis a week, and you know, I saving my bones because they are very, very painful sometimes.
I think that a lot of times, sometimes what you were saying is that sometimes we get chances for opportunity, and sometimes we get the chance to give opportunity. One thing that I noticed when I was in here, and I grew up being in gyms, your name is famous, but you don't treat people that way. And I think that that was something that's fascinating. What keeps you from, or not what keeps you, is what continues your humbleness? You know, when I walked in here, every person you walked up to, you know, and that's something that was, it's fascinating. And to people that think that that there's this big name, but really you're so human to those around you. What keeps that ground for you personally?
In a very early age, I've been exposed to Jiu-jitsu, and all my life is spent basically on the mat. You know, at one point I was a kid watching growing up people train, and that ground and that kind of mat, you see people naked in a way where they have no ways to hide themselves from what they are. It's like when you get drunk, or when you start losing a lot of money, or you lost your faith, you start to expose what you really are. When you fight, it's the same thing. You cannot just play, you know, you have to just get in there, and either you're gonna get your ass kicked or you're gonna kick people's ass, and once you get beat, you're gonna come up with excuse, or you're gonna be humble and say, hey man, you beat me, thank you, next time. So you show your character very easily. And for me, that's always been the most real way for me to interact with people. It's based on the shake hands. Like if I shake your hand like this, nice to meet you, sir. If I shake your hand like this, or if I shake your hand like this, it's three different people.
Yeah.
So Cannot be too much, cannot be too little, it has to be right. When you look somebody, when you talk, when you see somebody respond that attitude, that pressure with graciousness, sometimes with anger, sometimes the guy's a coward, he beat people, when he gets tired he stops training. So it's a lot of ways for you to kind of see people's personality. And based on that, I realize I have to respect everybody. I have to understand my position, which make me special in what I do, but also make me a learner in many other ways. So what keeps me humble is to know you may be great in what you do, and I have to respect you in the same. So I'm not just thinking, oh, I'm the center of the universe. No, I'm making a composition here, and I'm bringing my service, I'm bringing my goods to the table, and I expect you bringing some. And if you don't fulfill my expectations, graciously, I'm not going to be interested to stay with you. You just, you have to pay me to get my attention. Other than that, but if I receive from you the energy I need, we are in business for life. It's not about money for me. It's never been. It's all about respect, motivation, high energy and accomplishments, and success. So Jiu-Jitsu gives me a very ground position where I feel like I know I'm good, I know I'm gifted, I know I'm a celebrity for a few people. But I have to realize myself as a constant learner, a student. I just pass through energy through my hands, so I have to give and receive. So I'm thankful a lot for what I receive, not just feel like I'm above anything. So it's funny, sometimes I'm coming from a jiu-jitsu tournament with everybody wants to have autograph or picture. So when I finish, I like to go to public place where nobody recognizes me, just to feel like I'm back to normal,
Well, I think it was an honor not only to hang out,
Thank you, my
but
brother.
it seems that it was one of those things that what you just said, I think that can transcend into so many people that we're nothing different, and I think that we all, though some are gifted in certain things, but we can all learn from you, and hopefully we can learn that same mentality for those that do get success to give it back.
Yes, and then last final line for food for thought for everybody is, the most important, the best things in life, money cannot buy. And that's.
And they can't say it enough, can they?
Yes, motivation, intelligence, family, friends. Those things. You can have all the money if you're not motivated, if you not have friends or things to share with, regardless, you are a very unhappy guy.
Thanks.
I think it is.
Starbuck on the move. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
If you like this episode, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just like Nike is to athletes, Moved is to entrepreneurs.